Quilt more, worry less. Who doesn't need this saying in their lives? This is a project from the Missouri Star Jenny's Countdown to Christmas box from last year, and all these applique pieces are laser cut. So I stuck them on, and I just did my free motion quilting around each letter to give this kind of crazy effect. And I like that. Next, I finished this Notion roll. This is from the Dusk to Dawn collection that Monique Jacobs created with Maywood Studio, and then the pattern was in an Open Gate Quilt subscription box from last year. This became very important to me because I needed all my notions ready to go for some needle turn applique. I started this little fox block. This is a single block from a full-size quilt pattern from Bunny Hill Designs called 101 Maple Street. Look at his little face. This is all needle turn applique just to get me all warmed up. I still have some ink on there that will iron off. But he's on a little swing. I still have to do the leaves, little mushrooms. I just, it's so stinking cute. But I'm working on that for this week. The My Queen's quilt is all cut up from Open Gate Quilts. It's from her Halloween box. And I didn't think that I was going to get to this year, but it's all cut up and I'm getting excited about it. And that queen on the left, like, was too scary for me for a little bit, but I worked through it because the queen on the far right, the mask one, is so awesome that I can't let it go. Cutting the panels is stressful to make sure that they're right because they're so big, but I ended up messing up the outer border. The very last strip, I cut it an inch too short on the width. So I'll show you how I work through that. I probably won't get that done this Halloween, but I am so much closer on the mysterious quilt. I only needed the borders. I've been working on this for 3 years and I really got caught up on what borders to pick. So I have that gray inner border, the big outer border, and that's going to be done. This is such a pretty scrappy quilt. This is a Doug Let Go Antler Quilt Designs pattern. Kit 2 from the Yuletide Sew Along is done, and I have Kit 3 already cut up and ready to sew together some stars. This kit has so much excess fabric. Like, I love extra fabric for sure, but I had to open up a second container just to hold the scraps. And it's like it's almost a burden. There's so many and lots of different types of fabric. So I don't know if this is a valid complaint. Let me know how much extra fabric is appropriate to you. Because if there was less fabric, like it could have been cheaper. What's your case? What are you thinking? For mail this week, I got the Block magazine from Missouri Star Quilt Company because it's got a special little feature in this edition with Monique. Has a whole feature, an article, and it's great to read that and get to know her a little better. And she has a little pattern in there. To get free shipping, I added in some catalogs, this Jelly Roll Baskets book, do some little mug rug projects just for a little something fun. And then this applique pattern called Timber. Look at this little bear. It's so cute. And I got this card. I have so much respect for paper craft. If you're a paper crafter, I love these cards. I never throw them out. So this one is from Patty. Thank you so much for sending it to me and for the little scriptures in there. Now it's time to snuggle and look at some Island Batik quilts. This is from the ambassadors doing the blog hawk all going on all this month. And first up is Brenda from Songbird Designs. She did this Starburst quilt. This is from the end of week 1. Gail Shepherd made 2 quilts. So this is one, and they're all individual blocks, all completely paper pieced. So she just displays this fabric. It's the same line that I used called copper patina and all these different possibilities. Like, it's so over the top wonderful. And Arena did this English paper piecing whole quilt. I have so much respect for people that can do this much stitching for an entire quilt top. It looks phenomenal. I love the little pops of teal too. Victoria Johnson did these gigantic stars with this tiny little stripe border. Like, it's not a print. She pieced every one of those tiny stripes for the border. Claudia Porter has this design that she created herself based off of crowns. You see how it's like a primitive crown? I've never seen anything like that. That was an amazing quilt. Susan from Lady Blue Quilt Studio did this paper piece project with just this autumn fabric, and it just reminds me of leaves falling from the sky. Jennifer Thomas took this English lavender fabric collection and put it in a direction I never would have thought of. It turned out so amazing with it's called I think Webster's quilt. Like it's kind of like spider web inspired paper piecing. And with all those colors just mosaicing through, it reminds me of a spider web in the morning or like in the evening with a little dew on it, like all the prisma that happens to it. Oh, and last year's Emily's quilt, she used English lavender as well, but a totally different direction. And this is made with a bazillion half square triangles. She used some half square triangle papers. And I thought about doing that, but this is such a cool result of those papers. So if you want to read more about those and the designs and what the thought process was, they each have a blog post, and I'll direct you to Island Batik's blog, and they have them all listed out there. It's really easy. So I hope you enjoyed this little wrap up and a little bit of my needlepoint here. And I will see you next week.